You were aware that Aaliyah was with Charles Jones when he was shot and killed?
Yeah.
All right. And that was despite the fact that Aaliyah dated someone that Charles Jones rapped about killing.
Okay.
You aware of that?
Yeah.
Go retaliate or something. They're sitting up here rapping, but that's y'all homeboy. Just do what y'all gotta do. Girl, I don't like Foolio. Ugly ass. He needs to die.
Alicia Andrews wasn't just caught in drama. She was deep in a setup that flipped everything upside down. The whole thing ended with Foolio losing his life, and when Alicia stepped into that courtroom, she acted like she was untouchable. Cameras caught her laughing, fixing her makeup, calm as ever, like she wasn't staring down a homicide case. But behind that cool face, nobody was ready for how wild things were about to get. Prosecutors came swinging hard, dropping every gritty detail about how the hit on Foolio went down. They told the jury how the shooter tracked him on his birthday, lurking for the right second before pulling up strapped with rifles and a Glock fitted with a switch. Alicia didn't squeeze the trigger herself, but her name was all over the setup. The plan couldn't have moved an inch without her. Then came the bombshell that froze the whole courtroom. Alicia was pregnant through all this chaos.
All of that gunfire filling the dark, early morning hours with booming concussion and bright, flashing muzzle flashes as these high-pressured and high-powered rounds flooded the atmosphere in front of that Dodge Charger.
She had the baby while locked up, and that revelation sent whispers flying down the hallways. People were looking at each other like they were watching a real-life thriller unfold right in front of them. Things got even darker when prosecutors revealed how deep Alicia and her boyfriend, Isaiah Chance, were caught in this setup. They weren't just hanging around, they were actively trailing Foolio through Tampa, dropping constant updates so the shooters knew his every move. It was Alicia and Isaiah who first spotted Theo sitting outside that hotel, chilling in his car like he had no clue danger was creeping right up on him. Moments later, everything exploded. The shooters pulled up and unleashed a storm of gunfire so loud it made the whole block shake. When the photos of that car hit the courtroom screens, people gasped. The damage was unreal. There was absolutely no way Foolio was walking away from that. Not with the kind of firepower they brought that night. He'd been lounging in the passenger seat, feet up.
You were at the hotel where Foolio was murdered at the exact same time that he was murdered. Okay? Sweetie, the reason we're so...
Just relaxing, completely unaware that death was seconds away. As the bullets ripped through the car, Foolio tried to slide into the back seat to escape, but a 5.56 round tore straight through his chest and hit his heart. Even then, he kept fighting, trying to crawl out and stay alive, but 2 more rounds hit his back, one slicing into his liver. The entire scene was fast, chaotic, and brutal. It was over before anyone could react. By the time the shots stopped echoing, Foolio was gone. The whole thing looked messy from the outside, but prosecutors said this crew had been planning every move for a while. And even though Alicia never pulled the trigger, her role in making it all happen was too deep to ignore. Alicia was the one who locked down that Tampa Airbnb, making sure the crew had a spot to move quietly without raising suspicion. But everything they thought was slick turned out to be sloppy. Every move got tracked or recorded somehow. One of the shooters, Sean Gathright, ended up exposing himself bad when cops found security footage from his own house. The video showed him and Isaiah Chance loading massive bags into their cars before they hit the road to Tampa, practically filming their own downfall. Investigators couldn't believe how reckless it looked once they got their hands on the footage. And that wasn't all. Cameras, license plate scanners, and cell tower data pieced together the whole route from Jacksonville to Tampa like a digital breadcrumb trail. Every stop, every turn, every ping, all of it pointed straight back to the crew. Even Alicia got caught slipping. There was footage of her at a McDonald's in Tampa just hours before the hit went down. That single clip made the prosecution's timeline look airtight, leaving the defense with nowhere to run. When her trial began, Alicia's lawyer tried to flip the story, painting her as some innocent woman who didn't know a thing. They said she had no clue who the shooters were, had no part in the plan, and was just enjoying a peaceful weekend trip with her boyfriend, Isaiah Chance. But right from the start, it was clear that story wasn't holding up. The prosecutors were waiting to break it apart piece by piece. And then came the witness that changed the entire mood of the courtroom. This woman had been at the hotel the night Foolio was unalive, chilling with Julio's circle before stepping inside to use the bathroom just moments before the shots rang out. That small decision was the only reason she wasn't caught in the chaos that followed. The second she took the stand, you could feel the air shift. Everyone knew things were about to get serious. What made that witness's testimony even crazier was her past. past. She wasn't some random person off the street. She used to date one of Young and Ace's brothers, T. Trayvon, back in the day. Sadly, T. Trayvon lost his life right in front of Ace, a moment that left scars on that whole family forever. But later, this same woman started hanging around Julio's circle instead, twisting the story even more and adding serious heat to a case already packed with tension and history. The courtroom was hanging on to every single word she spoke because her story connected both sides in a way nobody saw coming. But things hit a whole new level when one of Alicia's closest friends took the stand. That's when the whole room felt the energy shift. Prosecutors came prepared, dropping bomb after bomb, including screenshots of old texts Alicia sent back in 2021. In those messages, she told her friend that 1,208K needed to be sliding and that they should be ending more of their ops. The reaction was instant. People in the courtroom started whispering, realizing Alicia wasn't just sitting on the sidelines. Those texts showed she knew exactly what kind of street chaos she was involved in. The defense tried hard to spin it, saying Alicia didn't understand what she was saying or the situations happening around her. But her own friends weren't backing her up. They got up there and spoke the truth. No hesitation, no cover-ups. Then prosecutors threw another punch. A second message from 2021 where Alicia texted her friend saying she couldn't stand Theo and flat out said he needed to end. That line hit the courtroom like a shockwave. Everyone knew that wasn't just frustration talking, that was intent, and it blew a hole straight through her defense's story. Those messages exposed how Alicia really felt about Foolio back then, and the prosecutors jumped on it fast. They used every word to show she knew exactly what kind of heat was bubbling between all the crews. One of Alicia's close friends had been unalive during the conflict between AK 1200 and the folks tied to 6 Block, and Alicia never stayed out of the loop. She kept tabs on everyone, every grudge, and every move being made in those streets. That made it nearly impossible for anyone to believe she was just some innocent girl caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. But what had people truly shocked was how reckless the shooters were after the hit. The moment they tried to get away, one of them took off running but didn't make it far. He got tackled on the spot by police. Once investigators started digging into their phones, what they uncovered was beyond careless. One of the shooters had literally texted out photos of the burner phone he bought just for the job. Not only that, he sent pictures of the same guns used to take out Julio, and he never deleted a single thing afterward. The courtroom couldn't believe it. Prosecutors laid it all out, showing this wasn't some split-second act. It was planned, deliberate, and messy in all the wrong ways.
Right now, you're going to be in prison. You're never going to come out of it. You're never going to see the outside of it.
This wasn't some random street beef gone bad. This was a planned, organized hit. To make that clear, prosecutors brought in a seasoned gang detective who broke down the full timeline behind the chaos. He explained the years of tension between Foolio, 6 Block, AK, and 1200. The sneak attacks, the back and forth threats, and every close call that built up to that deadly night in Tampa. The courtroom was dead quiet as he mapped it all out like a movie plot. Alicia might not have been the one out there dropping diss tracks or showing off for attention, but detectives proved she wasn't clueless. She knew every name, every side, and exactly what was moving behind the scenes. When they revealed how AK and 1200 had already tried to take Foolio out multiple times before Tampa, you could feel the air shift. The room went silent, every eye locked on her. And that's when prosecutors hit them with the twist that sealed it. Sean Gathright, one of the shooters charged in the Tampa hit, had already shot Foolio in the foot a year earlier during an earlier clash involving AK. The detective asked, "You were at the hotel where Foolio was murdered at the exact same time?" And the witness calmly replied, "Mm-hmm." The whole courtroom froze after that exchange. That one connection made everything look deliberate. Not an accident, not a misunderstanding, but straight up targeted payback. And Sean wasn't the only one who'd come after Foolio before. Prosecutors reminded everyone that Foolio had barely escaped another ambush in Houston where someone almost hit him in the head. It showed a pattern. These weren't coincidences. This was a long game finally catching up to him. Then prosecutors turned the courtroom into something straight out of a rap documentary. They took things up a notch and started playing lyrics from Fast Money Goon's track, Who I Smoke. In it, he rapped, "I was lurking on his page and I caught him lacking in Houston. We let off shots, he got shot and went live. I was tweaking like, fuck man, that bitch ain't passed." Hearing those words echo through the courtroom was chilling. It wasn't just music anymore, it was evidence tying art straight to real-life violence. Right after that, prosecutors flipped the script and showed the jury Foolio's own videos, where he had been firing lyrical shots back at AK and 1,200, even mentioning some of their fallen members by name. They played bars like, "Went out to eat on his birthday, folks shot 3 in the worst way, and he kept dissing on me, now he's smoking 23. Every line turned the tension up another level. Outside the courtroom, people were whispering, feeling the weight of how deep this beef really ran. It wasn't just back and forth music anymore. These lyrics were showing a dangerous rivalry fueled by pain, pride, and payback. Then came another twist. The state brought up Young and Ace's lyrics from Game Over to argue that AK and 1,200 were behind Foolio's death. That track dropped right after the hit, and Ace's verse made the room go cold. Once 23 ended, inside my eyes I lost my mind. Karma, do it all I know, get back, do it time. 5.56 increased the homicide rate, another body on the way. Mask on, get up close, this another closed case. Don't Julio shots to the face, 5 in the morning I got a call. The silence after those lyrics played was unreal. It felt like the music itself was confessing what everyone already feared. When the prosecutor read out the lyric, "End on the floor, end on arrival, Mr. Six," the courtroom went quiet. Every bar suddenly carried a double meaning. It wasn't just a song anymore, it sounded like a coded confession. Alicia's defense kept fighting, saying that even if she knew the shooters, that didn't automatically make her guilty. But the problem was, the receipts didn't lie. She was caught on multiple cameras trailing Foolio the night everything went down, and the state made sure the jury saw it all. Her lawyers tried to claim she didn't really understand what her boyfriend Isaiah and his people were into, but that story fell apart fast once investigators brought more evidence to the table. Turns out, Alicia had been DMing other AK members on Instagram, not just random messages, but real back and forth conversations. That detail blew up the idea that she was some outsider who didn't know what was going on, and it didn't stop there. She had also been messaging Foolio's former associate, K Shorty, who had switched sides at one point. That piece of information hit hard because it proved Alicia wasn't just close to one crew, she had her hands in every corner of the drama. It painted her as someone who knew the full story, playing both sides while acting innocent in public. By the time prosecutors laid out all these digital receipts and connections, the picture was crystal clear. Alicia wasn't just in the wrong place at the wrong time. She was fully aware of the tension, the history, and the danger circling around her. The whole courtroom could feel it. She was in deep trouble. Even her defense team looked uneasy, and that's when they tried to switch things up completely, bringing another woman into the spotlight to change the direction of the case. Alicia's defense tried to pull a bold move. They pointed the finger at Aaliyah, the same woman who was at the hotel the night Julio was unalive, and the same one who had once dated Young and Ace's brother, Trevin. They asked detectives if Aaliyah had ever been looked at as a suspect, trying to plant doubt and shift the pressure away from Alicia. Since Aaliyah also had history tied to Foolio, the defense hoped it would stick. But that plan fell apart fast. The second they brought it up, the state came swinging right back with even heavier evidence stacked against Alicia. Investigators had gone through her phone and found pictures taken outside one of the clubs Foolio visited the same night he was unalive, meaning Alicia had been tracking him long before that hotel ambush even happened. The courtroom leaned in, everyone realizing this wasn't some last-minute setup. It was something that had been building all night. Then came another gut punch. The evidence from Sean Gathwright's phone made things look even worse. Detectives revealed that Rashad Murphy, another shooter tied to the hit, had used Sean's phone right after Foolio was gone and sent a chilling message that read, "I'm coming home. My thirst is quenched. I love you, Murphy." When the prosecutor read that line out loud, the whole courtroom went still. The air got heavy, and you could almost feel the tension crawling across the room. At that point, the web of connections was impossible to ignore. Alicia, Sean, Isaiah, every single one of them was getting hit with receipts that left no room to breathe. But the craziest thing wasn't even the evidence. It was Alicia's attitude through it all. While detectives were laying out step by step how she helped track Foolio's every move across Tampa, she just sat there smiling, laughing quietly like she was watching someone else's story unfold. Detectives testified that Alicia didn't just tag along, she played a key role in helping Isaiah follow Foolio's trail the entire night. Every stop, every turn, every move, she was right there, deep in it, acting like she had nothing to lose. Alicia wasn't just hanging around that night. She was actively feeding the shooters real-time real-time updates. She sent her live location straight to the car packed with hitters, guiding them step by step through the city. They knew exactly which routes to take and where to pull up, all because Alicia was feeding them the blueprint. Just minutes before the hotel ambush, she sent that final live pin, the same one that led them right to Theo, who was sitting still with no clue danger was seconds away. At the same time, Sean Gathright was running his own setup on the side. He'd been texting a woman he knew that night, asking her to help find out where Foolio's Airbnb was so they could trap him from another angle. The messages proved this wasn't some random street run. The shooters were hunting Foolio from every direction, organized and calculated. When prosecutors threw up all those text threads, photos, and location receipts on the courtroom screens, it painted the entire play-by-play, and there was no denying how deep Alicia was in it. Every detail showed her fingerprints were all over the setup, and the jury could see it crystal clear. Then came one of the most talked about moments in the trial. Prosecutors played Alicia's first interview with detectives. The whole room went silent as the footage rolled. When the cops told her they had clear surveillance showing her at the hotel the night Julio was unalive, Alicia just laughed, brushing it off like it wasn't that serious. That reaction made jaws drop. People couldn't believe how calm she looked while facing evidence that heavy, but detectives weren't letting up. They started stacking the facts one by one, showing her phone records, location pings, and clips of her cartailing Foolio around Tampa. They even told her straight up that they knew about the tension between her boyfriend Isaiah Chance and the people connected to 6 Block. Piece by piece, they stripped away every excuse she had, and by the end, there was nowhere left for her to hide. Even with all that evidence piled up, Alicia kept acting like she didn't know anything. The whole courtroom was shaking their heads. There was no way she could play clueless with that much proof staring her down. Everyone could see it. She was trying to protect Isaiah Chance, her boyfriend at the time, no matter what it cost her. But what made it even more shocking was the fact that Alicia was pregnant with Isaiah's baby while she was out helping with the setup against Foolio. The whole situation felt unreal. Detectives didn't sugarcoat a thing. They told her to her face that Isaiah was using her, dragging her straight into something that could destroy her entire life. One detective even warned her point blank that if she didn't start cooperating, she could be facing a life sentence. But even after hearing that, Alicia still wouldn't give up any details on Isaiah or the shooters. She sat there through the whole interrogation, calm but defiant, denying everything, even when they had screenshots, timestamps, and footage proving she was lying about the routes, the messages, and her movements that night. By the time the trial came around, there was nowhere left for her to hide. The state had every receipt ready to go. And when Alicia finally took the stand, her tone changed just a little. The tough act started to crack. When the questioning turned to Isaiah, she told the jury he had beaten her, and prosecutors backed it up by showing photos of her face bruised and swollen after one of their fights. The images hit hard. The courtroom went silent again. According to Alicia, Isaiah was the one using her phone during the hit on Foolio, and she only allowed it because she was terrified of him. She said the abuse was real, and for the first time in the entire trial, it felt like the mask had finally slipped. Nobody argued the abuse was real, but the court made one thing clear. That was a separate issue from what happened the night Foolio was unalive. Based on everything the prosecutors laid out, Alicia still knew exactly why that drive to Tampa went down and what the mission was meant to be. She wasn't blindsided, and she definitely wasn't tricked. She was part of the move from the start. Alicia was staring down the possibility of life in prison if the jury hit her with a homicide conviction, but when the verdict dropped, she caught a major break. Instead of homicide or conspiracy, the jury found her guilty of manslaughter and cleared her on the conspiracy charge. That decision saved her from spending the rest of her life behind bars, but it didn't mean she was walking away free. The sentence for manslaughter in Florida still carries serious weight, and Alicia knew it the moment she heard the word guilty. After court, Julio's mother told reporters she was already preparing her impact statement for the judge, and she didn't hold back. She said she wants Alicia to get 15 years plus 10, making it clear she wants the court to throw every legal year possible at her. 15 years might be the max for manslaughter, but judges can stack extra time if they believe the crime deserves more. And Julio's mom made sure everyone knew that's exactly what she's hoping for. Even with all the evidence and the emotional moments that came out during the trial, Alicia still walked away with a lighter outcome than most people expected, and way lighter than what she was originally facing. But while she might have dodged the harshest charge, things are looking way darker for Isaiah Chance and the shooters connected to Foolio's passing. Their trials are set for 2026, and no one knows what kind of fire the state is getting ready to unleash when that time comes. Prosecutors already went hard at Alicia, stacking evidence from every angle, so just imagine the kind of pressure they'll bring against the people accused of actually pulling the trigger. This story might have hit a pause for now, but it's far from finished, and the next chapter looks even messier, louder, and more dangerous than ever. So what do you think about how all this played out? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with the squad, because the rest of this story is only getting crazier from here.